Stu, you're gonna freak out, but it's gonna be okay.
Why? Is it my teeth?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for 20 specific movie scenes that got the filmmakers sued.
Grandma Lorraine!
Sweetheart! Hi.
What happened to Grandpa?
Oh, he threw his back out again.
Number 20, Avatar. Say what you will about the movie itself, but seeing Avatar on the big screen was a borderline religious experience in 2009. Many people remember seeing Pandora for the first time. The floating islands and cascading waterfalls burned into memories the world over. Everyone loved it. Everyone but Roger Dean. Dean is a renowned artist who designs album covers, and his work is noted for featuring fantastic alien landscapes similar to Avatar. In fact, he sued James Cameron for plagiarism, claiming that the director had copied 14 of his original works, including Floating Jungle. He sought damages of $50 million, but a judge ultimately dismissed the case.
You should see your faces.
Number 19, Happy Death Day.
Yo, I think your friends went the other way. Can I help you?
A fun movie that brings Groundhog Day into the slasher genre, Happy Death Day sees Tree Gelbman reliving the day of her murder over and over again. She first encounters her killer in a tunnel, and viewers are quick to notice that they're wearing a baby mask. Most people were probably creeped out, maybe a little bemused, but not Johnson Berticelli. He is the creator of King Cake Baby, the official mascot of the New Orleans Pelicans. Perhaps not coincidentally, the film also happens to take place in New Orleans. Berticelli sued the filmmakers for copyright infringement and sought to receive half of the movie's profits. In 2021, Universal City Studios reached a private settlement with Berticelli, the details of which were not released.
Look, weirdo, I'm not scared. Why don't you go try this with one of the heifers at Delta Gamma? They're into cosplay.
Number 18, Rasputin and the Empress.
Open your eyes. Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You're so far away, Natasha.
Turns out you can't just make up facts and present it as history. There's one scene in the movie where Rasputin overpowers Princess Natasha and puts her into a trance. It's also heavily implied that he overcomes her sexually. Natasha is modeled after Princess Irina Alexandrovna, whose husband, Prince Felix, helped murder Rasputin in 1916. In real life, Princess Irina was never overcome by Rasputin, and attorney Fanny Holtzman filed a libel lawsuit against the studio on her behalf. She ultimately won an out-of-court settlement with MGM and received $127,000 in an English court. The offensive scene was also removed from future releases, and the lawsuit gave rise to the all persons fictitious disclaimer that is often seen at the end of movies.
Keep looking, or you'll be lost forever in the dark.
Number 17, The Blues Brothers.
You got us into this parking lot, pal. Now you get us out. You want out of this parking lot? Okay.
In one of the movie's most iconic sequences, Jake and Elwood engage the police in a car chase through the Dixie Square Mall. This was a very short-lived mall in Chicago, opening in 1966 and closing just 12 years later in 1978. The empty mall was then converted into a temporary school for the Harvey Dixmoor School District. It was still serving as such when John Landis rented the building for filming. The cars caused a considerable amount of damage inside the mall, damage that was never fixed or paid for. As such, the school district sued Universal Pictures for damages. However, they too left the mall soon after, and it lay abandoned until 2012 when it was finally demolished.
Pants and burgers. Yeah, lots of space in this mall.
Number 16, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. One of the most catastrophic onset injuries in movie history occurred while filming Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. Mila Jovovich's stunt double, Olivia Jackson, was driving a motorcycle at high speeds without a helmet when she collided with a camera crane. Jackson was in a coma for 2 weeks and suffered a litany of horrific injuries, including a crushed face, a twisted spine, and a paralyzed left arm that was eventually amputated. Jackson sued the producers, claiming that the stunt was negligently planned and that they lied to her about medical insurance that didn't actually exist. The court ruled in favor of Jackson, and she was awarded an undisclosed settlement.
And the next thing I remember, I woke up 3 weeks later after being in a coma, and then saw my family. Sorry.
Number 15, Rocky.
Creed dancing around. Hey, I don't believe it! Hey, that champ is down. Yes, he is.
It was March 24th, 1975, and the legendary Muhammad Ali was fighting underdog Chuck Wepner. Nobody expected Wepner to do well, but he nearly went the distance, finally being TKO'd in the 15th and final round. Even more incredible, Wepner actually managed to knock down Ali, one of only 4 times that Ali had been knocked down in his entire career. Sound familiar? Sylvester Stallone watched the fight on TV, and believing that it was, quote, an incredible triumph of the human spirit, wrote Rocky immediately after. Fast forward to 2003 when Wepner sued Stallone, claiming that he never received official credit or recognition for inspiring the famous movie. Unlike the boxing match, he won the lawsuit, receiving an undisclosed amount.
Ain't gonna be no rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch.
Don't want one.
Number 14, The Hangover Part 2.
Where are we?
Oh my God, Alan. Your head. No, your head.
Can you copyright a tattoo? That was the main question behind this lawsuit. In one of the movie's most famous scenes, Stu wakes up and discovers that he now has Mike Tyson's iconic face tattoo. He then goes the entire rest of the movie with the tattoo on his face. This did not sit well with S. Victor Whitmill, who designed Tyson's tattoo. He filed a copyright lawsuit against Warner Brothers, and the studio in turn defended themselves, arguing that tattoos do not fall under copyright law. The judge hilariously called this defense, quote, silly, and affirmed that yes, tattoos do in fact fall under copyright, being considered original works of art. They were forced to settle with Whitmill for an undisclosed amount.
That's good. Why don't you try to wash it off?
It's not coming off.
Number 13, Lay the Favorite.
Sportsbooks. A sportsbook is where you go to make a bet on a sporting game. You can do that here in Vegas, or you can do it online overseas, but I gotta do it here. So I gotta send guys that run and take the money down there and make the bets for me. Maybe that's something you can do if you come down here to work.
Have you ever heard of this movie? Probably not, considering it was ravaged by critics and made peanuts at the box office. In the background of an office is a watercolor map of Curacao, which was painted by artist and map maker Victor Baker. The map was used without Baker's permission, so he sued Amazon, Netflix, and Random House Films. He also claims that the map plays a key role in the plot as the characters establish a legal gambling operation in Curacao to bypass American financial laws. Baker sued the streamers and the studio for $150,000. Not a huge sum by any means, but about 7 times what the movie made at the domestic box office.
Here's what just happened in New York. They're moving their lines, so now we're trying to move our lines accordingly to adjust for a couple ounces that haven't moved their lines yet. You understand?
Number 12, Blazing Saddles.
I. Your name. Schmucks. Pledge allegiance. To Hedi Lamar. That's Hedley. One
of the primary villains of this legendary comedy is Hedi Lamar, a crooked attorney general who wishes to ruin the town of Rock Ridge. His name is a play on Hedi Lamar, an actress who enjoyed great success in the 1940s. Unfortunately, Lamar wasn't very pleased with her name being used as the source of a running joke, claiming that it was an invasion of her privacy. So she sued Warner Brothers for $100,000, about $700,000 when adjusted for inflation. Writer-director Mel Brooks found it an honor to be sued by Lamar, and neither he nor Warner Brothers found the lawsuit worth fighting, so they simply settled out of court for an undisclosed amount.
Thank you, Hedi, thank you.
It's not
Hedi, it's Hedi Lamar.
The hell are you worried about? This is 1874. You'll be able to sue hard.
Number 11, Back to the Future Part 2.
What happened to Grandpa? Oh, he threw his back out again.
How's Granddad's little pumpkin?
How did you do that? How did he do that?
Oh, out on the golf course.
This movie set a huge precedent for the future of film. Turns out you can't just model one actor after another and pretend that it's them. Crispin Glover refused to return for Back to the Future Part 2, citing an insulting salary and a disagreement around the first movie's consumerist ending. Robert Zemeckis got around that by hiring another actor named Jeffrey Weissman and dressing him up as Glover with the use of facial prosthetics. Glover was irate and sued the producers, claiming that they had no right to use his likeness. He was right, and the parties settled out of court. There is now a legal clause in the Screen Actors Guild forbidding filmmakers from doing this again.
How many times have we heard it, George? Mom, I can't let him think I'm chicken.
You're right. Well, you're right.
Number 10, The Devil's Advocate. Here's a warning to all future filmmakers. Be really careful that your designs weren't accidentally lifted from something else. When The Devil's Advocate was released in 1997, sculptor Frederick Hart noticed that the sculpture in Milton's apartment looked suspiciously like his ex nihilo, which is adorned on Washington's Episcopal National Cathedral. Both Hart and the cathedral sued Warner Brothers, and a judge claimed that they had a substantial likelihood of winning the case. Warner Brothers settled with the plaintiffs before it went to trial, and they were forced to make digital edits before the movie could be released for sale.
Oh, got me! Got me! Yes! Wow! Oh, yes! Yes!
Copies that were already produced for rental were adorned with a sticker claiming that there was no relation between the movie sculpture and Hart's work. Number 9, Tears of the Sun. This Bruce Willis-led action thriller concerns a Navy SEAL team sent to rescue a United States citizen from the jungles of Nigeria. Action movies are tricky to film, owing to all the dangerous stunts and pyrotechnics, and sometimes things go wrong. In this case, things went wrong for the movie's star.
You knew all the time and you didn't tell me.
Didn't trust you.
Willis was reportedly hit in the head by an unidentified projectile during one of the movie's action scenes, resulting in extreme mental, physical, and emotional pain. He sought financial damages and compensation, as he was, quote, required to employ physicians and other medical personnel to treat his unspecified injury. He claimed that the special effects team acted negligently and exposed the crew to ultra-hazardous activity. Number 8, American Hustle. This movie concerns a historic FBI sting operation, so it's not really surprising that it was pegged with a lawsuit. What is surprising was that it had nothing to do with the FBI, merely it concerns a microwave. Jennifer Lawrence's Rosalind claims that she read in a Paul Brodeur article that microwaves zap food of their nutrition.
That's bullshit.
It's not bullshit. I read it in an article. Look, by Paul Brodeur. Bring something into this house that's gonna take all the nutrition out of our food and then light our house on fire? Thank God for me.
Brodeur is a real figure and has written extensively about microwave radiation, but he never claimed that they suck nutrition from food.
Brodeur filing a $1 million libel, slander, and defamation suit against the movie's production companies, including Columbia Pictures, saying the film attributes his name to a scientifically unsupportable statement.
He told the court as much in his lawsuit, claiming that the movie defamed and portrayed him as a fearmonger. However, a California appeals court stated that the movie was a, quote, farce, and that audiences were led to mistrust anything that the unhinged Rosalind claimed. Number 7, Die Hard 2. Product placement is all too common in blockbuster movies. As the budget for Die Hard 2 increased, Fox and Black & Decker reached an agreement. The power tool manufacturer would fork over $20,000 in exchange for John McClane using their latest tool, the Univolt cordless drill, on screen.
This is a first. Yeah, well, Holly told me I should wake up and smell the 90s.
The company was excited about the promotion and even created a tie-in marketing campaign around the tool. However, the scene was cut from the final edit without Black & Decker's permission, and the company was cheesed. They sought $150,000 in damages and won, with 20th Century Fox settling out of court.
Jeez, McClane, you all right? You want a medic?
McClane, what the hell you think you're doing out there, huh? Playing John Wayne? How'd you like to spend the rest of the night in his cell?
But the best part about this story, Black & Decker never actually paid the agreed upon $20,000. Number 6. Coups Retreat. This romantic comedy stars Jon Favreau and Kristen Davis as unhappy high school sweethearts Joey and Lucy Tanzini. In one scene, Joey enjoys himself to an old photo of model Irina Krupnik. Krupnik had previously sold the photo to a stock image company, but she never intended it to be used in the movie's context. As per her lawyer, quote, Krupnik did not contemplate, intend, or consent to the use of her photograph or likeness in a quasi-pornographic context.
It's good for sunburns, right? No. It's good, yeah? It's good for sunburn? Okay, so I don't see anything.
She proceeded to launch a defamation suit and demanded $10 million in compensation. But by signing the rights away to the photo, Krupnik lost the ability to dictate how it was used. A judge threw out the case, and Krupnik never saw a dime. Number 5. 12 Monkeys. Apparently, Bruce Willis is a living, breathing lawsuit magnet. In the very beginning of 12 Monkeys, Willis's James Cole is interrogated on an elevated chair while some weird futuristic sphere probes him for weakness. Like The Devil's Advocate, this room and setup bore striking similarities to another piece of work, this one being a close approximation of architect Lebbeus Wood's neo-mechanical tower upper chamber. And just as The Devil's Advocate would have gone had Warner Brothers not settled, Woods won the case. He was awarded a high six-figure settlement from Universal Pictures in exchange for his work's use in the film, and the end credits claim that the interrogation room was inspired by the architectural work of Lebbeus Woods. Number 4. Romeo and Juliet.
Huh? Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
This classic adaptation of one of literature's greatest love stories turned out to be more tragic than expected. Director Franco Zeffirelli had initially promised the underage leads, Olivia Hussey and Leonard Whiting, that they would wear flesh-colored undergarments during their love scene. However, just before shooting, he convinced them to go nude with only body makeup, falsely assuring them their private parts would not be visible. Although Hussey initially defended the nude scene in 2018, her stance changed 5 years later.
How shall this be prevented? What sayest thou? Hast thou not a word of joy?
She and Whiting sued Paramount Pictures for $500 million, claiming the incident caused them emotional damage. The lawsuit was dismissed, partly due to the statute of limitations, but it's still troubling that they were exploited in such a manner. Number 3. Borat. Is this the most sued movie ever? Let's go through the list. The villagers of Glad, Romania sued, claiming that the movie made them look incestuous.
She's my sister.
A South Carolina resident claimed that Sacha Baron Cohen made crude comments about him.
Give me a smile, baby. Why angry face?
Well, what you're saying is very demeaning. Do you know the word demeaning?
No.
Driving instructor Michael Snixa sued over the use of his image in promotional material. The man who runs away from Borat in New York sued over public ridicule and humiliation. Perhaps the most notorious scene to cause a lawsuit, however, came when two of the frat brothers Borat met in South Carolina launched a defamation lawsuit. On top of this, singer Esma Rajapova sued over use of her song, even though the filmmakers had received permission. Funnily enough, this was the only lawsuit to kind of win, as she had not been notified by her production house. She was awarded just 26,000 euros of her 800,000 euro suit. Number 2. The Interview. It was perhaps inevitable that a satirical film from Seth Rogen would stir some controversy.
Dave! Kim! Are you ready to share with the world that gorgeous smile of yours?
Sure enough, the interview contained a graphic death scene of Kim Jong-un that led to intimidating threats from the North Korean government. But as it turned out, the real issue arose from a much more innocuous detail. After hackers threatened to attack theaters that showed the movie, the studio opted for streaming. Kernel Films, the stealth startup handling the release, hired another company, Newstar, to ensure the streaming was secure. According to Newstar, though, Colonel never paid their $1.1 million fee, so they dragged them to court for it.
How many times can the U.S. make the same mistake?
As many times as it takes.
In the end, the interview caused a lot more trouble than it was worth. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Twilight Zone, the movie. Much like an actual episode of the Twilight Zone series, its movie adaptation became linked to a real-life tragedy.
Can't believe it, you know? I can't.
Yeah. Drink your beer. Relax.
What do you mean, relax?
In the film's Time Out segment, Vic Morrow plays a bigoted man who was sent back in time to experience life on the receiving end of prejudice. The script initially featured Morrow's character rescuing 2 children during the Vietnam War. However, the young actors portraying the children were hired illegally and made to work at night. Tragically, while filming a scene involving a helicopter, Morrow and the children were killed when the aircraft crashed. Civil and criminal lawsuits were filed, with director John Landis and others being tried and ultimately acquitted of manslaughter. The bitter legal battles eventually led to stricter safety regulations in the industry.
Holy Toledo! Hey, you guys! What happened up there?
What do you make of these lawsuits? Frivolous or justified? Let us know in the comments.
This is a real tattoo!